Okay, very good afternoon to one and all. Eminent panelists. We will be soon, in fact, joined by Vice Chancellor of Amity University, Rajasthan. For some reasons, our Vice Chancellor might not be able to join us, but Vice Chancellor, sir, will be joining us. So once again, a very good afternoon to one and all. Esteemed panelists, I can find our guest of honor, Professor Tabriz Ahmed, Vice Chancellor from GT Goenka University. We have today also another esteemed speaker, Professor Sandeep Sancheti, who is Vice Chancellor at Marwari University, Gujarat. We have Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, with us, Professor Amit Jain. Other dignitaries, esteemed colleagues and participants from Amity University and from outside Amity University, dear colleagues and faculty members of Amity School of Languages, Amity University, Rajasthan. I forgot to mention the name of Professor Nalini Thampi, who also joined us. So very warm welcome to ma'am. Very warm welcome to Professor Tabriz Ahmed ji. In fact, today we are meeting here for an extremely important discussion that is on the new education policy NEP 2020, regulations for excellence in higher education. In fact, this is something very important, and all of us we are discussing, and a large area is there to brainstorm on this topic. Because whereas the previous national policy on education dates back to 1986 and only talked about, access and also equity. So access means availability of education. And we know that in our India society, we have a large section of students who do not get access to education. So this is the disadvantaged class whom were taken into consideration in the 1986 NPE. And also there was a discussion on equity, that is fairness of possibility of education to all. But the new education policy 2020 is a long way from that, policy, and it talks about quality education, access to quality education. And it is that which we need to brainstorm in these 3 days of faculty development program. We have very esteemed speakers, and the topics are, I would like to share with you. Today, we will have Professor Tabriz Ahmed, Vice Chancellor, GT Goenka University, Gurgaon, who would be talking on the topic light but tight regulatory approach. So he will be highlighting on the regulations, some of the regulations of NEP 2020. The second session will be honored by Professor Sandeep Sancheti, Vice Chancellor from Marwari University, Gujarat, and he would be talking about internationalization of universities. But this is not all. In fact, we have many other topics that will be covered. In the second day, we will have multilingualism and power of language, on which Dr. Akshay Kumar, Chairperson, Department of English and Cultural Studies from Punjab University, would deliver a talk. And we would have also such areas like issues and challenges that this NEP 2020 put forward. There would be discussion and interaction on translation and interpretation, as well as we would talk about foreign language and its scope in national education policy. So Dr. Parul, if you can see, if our Vice Chancellor is there, I think also the PPT needs to be changed. So maybe...
yeah, you just let me see if Sir is there.
Sir is already there. So over to you, sir. In fact, just one point I would like to tell that many of these regulations we have already incorporated in our university at Amity, Rajasthan. And over to you, Professor Amin Jain, sir, to talk about and on this aspect, and also to inaugural, discussion on the topic.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deepa, and a very warm welcome to Professor Tabrez and Professor Nalini. We are really honored and delighted to have you with us. I'm sorry I'm traveling. I'm also attending one more seminar today, but in physical mode today of the National Institute of Ayurveda, their National Ayush Expo and the Food Festival, which they have organized. So I'm attending the inaugural of that simultaneously to this event. So that's the beauty of this new online way of teaching and learning, that you can be at 3 places simultaneously, maybe
Yes,
one through your laptop, one through your mobile, and one in physical mode. So I'm, taking benefit of multiple events simultaneously. But I must congratulate Dr. Deepa for organizing this event and the entire organizing team, Dr. Parul Mishra and everyone else from Amity School of Languages. This is very, very pertinent to discuss about new education policy. And to our honored guest, I'm very happy and delighted to share that when we try to analyze the new education policy and the new proposals and the new suggestions that have been made, we realize that as Amity University, and I believe most of the private universities, which are the leading universities in India, they have been following many of those suggestions already. Just to give an example, a foreign language is compulsory at all campuses at Amity University, Rajasthan. Dr. Deepa spearheads that. We make it compulsory, but we give a lot of options of Spanish, French, German, Mandarin, Chinese for them. We believe in multidisciplinary education. So every Amity student, they get an opportunity that they can do a minor track in an unrelated area. So an architect or an engineer can do a minor degree or a minor certificate in management. So we have been following that practice also. We always believed in live projects. We always believed in practical way of learning. That's the reason today I am attending the inaugural. Tomorrow our students will be attending the Jaipur Literature Festival. Day after tomorrow our students are attending that food expo and the Ayush Expo. So we do believe in providing very, very practical education. We do believe in providing very practical exposure. And the events like this definitely help us to get different perspectives from eminent experts like Professor Tabrez and Professor Nalini, who are with us. So once again, I'll not take much time. And with these few words, I once again welcome and I express my gratitude to all the esteemed experts who are going to address as part of this faculty development program. And in fact, not only the faculty, but our students will also benefit, because this NEP shows a new way of learning to the students also. So it is not, we often raise this question that we are teaching, but are they learning? So that is very, very important. We make our strategies from teaching perspective, but what is required is what they want to learn. And we should always focus on that. So with this, once again, a very warm welcome. Over to you, Dr. Deepa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. In fact, all these sessions will have a interactive, question answer session. So there will be much possibility of discussing, raising questions, deliberate, that is going to help us, You talked about holistic education. In fact, Amity University is doing it in a big way. And thank you, sir, once again, that you could spare your time from your busy schedule.
So I'll request, kindly excuse me, so that I can continue with the event. They've invited me here, so
Okay,
I need to be with them also for some time. Kindly excuse Dr. Tabrez and Dr.
Thank
Nalini.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Please carry
So
on
you
with the
come in
session,
only,
and
sets the
I'll
tone.
definitely go through the recording and take benefits of your suggestions. Thank you so much.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So,
So before handing over the platform to our esteemed speaker of the day, Professor Dr. Tabrez Ahmed, I would like to tell all the participants that this is we are extremely honored to welcome him, and we are also honored that he could spare his valuable time with us. He would be talking about the regulations. He is currently the Vice Chancellor of GT Goenka University, Gurgaon, and also he is the Dean School of Law there. He had long 21 years of experience of working at various universities, and I can see very eminent institutions attached to his name. For example, West Bengal National University of Juridical Sciences, Calcutta. He was also in KIIT University, Bhubaneswar, Alliance University, Bengaluru, University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, Dehradun, and Galgoshias University, Greater Noida. Over to you, Tabrez sir. And once again, a hearty welcome to you.
So thank you very much, Professor Deepa, and also thank you to Parul Mishra for inviting me in this very important program. Let me also welcome the big participant, because we are around 76 participants is there from different parts of the country, what I understand. And also
yes, sir.
Mr. Amit Jain, still he's there. So it's great to see you, Amit. I think we met last in Dehradun when you were PVC of, I think, University, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So thank you very much for inviting me. Also selecting a very important topic of the hot debate right now, that the new education policy, and also bringing me to speak about the light but tight regulation. That is also a lot of discussion going on. What is light but tight? Let me further actually emphasize that why we felt a need to start a new education policy and why we have so much discussion about this aspect. Because we are worried about that India is doing very well. Because if you go to foreign countries, we find a lot of Indian scientists in NASA. There are more than 30% scientists are leading the show and creating a lot of innovative technologies. If you see, all the MNCs are led by the Indians. So Indians are doing very well. But if you talk about the Indian universities, why they're not able to focus among the top universities in the world, that was the kind of moot point. And then we realized that we have to review about the current education policy. Can we do something? So make Indian universities at par with the foreign universities. And that was the kind of the initial point to start raising the issue about the current education system in the country. And also there are some facts that currently our gross enrollment rate is very, very low, because it is just around 27%. It means that around 73% population of the country is not able to get any education. They're not able to feel, and they cannot contribute their talent in the nation building. So one idea is that how to raise this particular kind of level from 27%, and government is targeting to go up to 50% by 2035. So in last actually 13 years, we are going to just double the gross enrollment rate. And that's why a lot of changes are required. If you see about the growth of the Indian education system, we started in 1948 for the first time after independence. There was just Sarvapati Radhakrishnan, you know very well that we have made the Radhakrishnan Commission about reviewing the Indian education system in 1948 and 49. And then we realized that there were a lot of changes that were required at that time. And then accordingly, we made some changes, and then actual policy came in terms of Kothari Commission in 1968. And it has recommended a lot of changes as per the leadership by the Indira Gandhi at that time. Then we had seen that in 1986, we have seen the new policy came in 1986 by the support of the Rajiv Gandhi at that time. And focus was that how to remove the disparities and provide equal opportunity to everybody to come in the mainstream. And focus was that to inculcate more about the scientific temper and scientific knowledge was the focus area. And then in 1992, there were some minor changes in the policy, and then we brought about the focus on children education, because as per the Indian Constitution, up to 14 years of age, we should try to provide them free and fair education. And according to 2009, we have made a law that where all the children should be provided proper education by the government. Then in 2019, we have seen the new policy by the K. Kasturirangan Committee. On 31st May 2019, the report was submitted after the holistic discussion about the several levels, and we are trying to provide the level playing field for Indian education system. This policy is providing a lot of kind of the basic changes. So one is that the structure is going to change. Now, as per the current structure, we have 10+2 model, and then we have 3 years UG, 2 years PG and all, and PhD and MPhil. But in new policy, it is saying that there will be a 5+3+3+4 system. That first 5 year class will be foundation stage, then we have plus the middle stage, then higher level and the UG level. So 5+3+3+4 is the new model is proposed by this policy. And then it is also focusing a lot about the kind of the skill orientation. So from the very beginning, after 5th class, even the 6th, 7th, 8th class, you can also go for skilling of the students. And then also this policy is giving a lot of options about that multiple entry and multiple exit options. In a real model, you have to complete the full course to get a degree. But in this model, new model, it is supporting the idea that even if you finish 1 year after 12, you'll be able to get certificates. If you complete 2 years, you'll be getting the diploma. If you complete 3 years, you'll be getting the degree. And those who want to go for higher education for research, they have to complete 4th year. So those who will do 4th year UG, they'll be required to do only 1 year PG. So this way, at least not a single year is wasted. And this will be supporting all those people who sometimes lose interest, who sometimes change the track, who want to change their test, or sometimes who want to come back to the mainstream. So somebody want a quick job after the 12th, he will do 1 year course and then give certificates, join the industry. And after some gap, again, he go join back to anywhere and join the kind of second year. So that's why there's a proposal of the bank of credits. There'll be a bank where the credits will be stored. And anytime you just like the transaction in the bank in terms of rupees, you can transact your credits. So you will be going to anywhere, your older credits will be taken into account, and keeping required of the course you are joining, those credits will be counted and then will be given diploma or degree. So this way, this is focusing a lot on flexibility. So first focus area of this is that a lot of flexibility is given to the students, where they can choose a lot of subjects, they can change tracks, they can have multiple entry, multiple exit options. So they'll be able to maintain their kind of interest level, they can maintain the kind of the variety. So it is also a kind of leading to the multidisciplinary approach. So a person will be able to have multidisciplinary approach, multidisciplinary knowledge, because earlier in the current, right now in the current policy, in the current system, if you are science graduates, it is very difficult for you to understand the papers from humanities, social sciences. Or if you are a medical student, you cannot test these kind of the other areas. But in this policy, at least there are a lot of flexible options are there to the students. They'll be able to select from variety. And also this way, there'll be a multidisciplinary approach. You can develop your thought process, develop the knowledge, earn the credits from different areas. This way, we can also maintain the lot of variety. By this model also, we are focusing a lot about that keeping the variety and also raising the kind of enrollment level. And then by putting the final year in the 4-year program of the UG, it means research is the focus area. So this way, I think we can also able to develop the research because research is very important right now. And research will be kind of the deciding the fate. So if you see the entire policy framework, it is focusing a lot on it is just reorganizing the, recognizing the entire process, identifying and fostering the unique abilities of these students, and also trying to achieve the the foundational literacy and numeracy in the system. Because what is happening right now, because of the structured model, a lot of students are not able to join the primary education. So what is happening at the initial level, because no kind of the books are required, Nothing is required. Simply you'll be going to the school. So this way they are trying to raise the entry, trying to raise the gross enrollment rate. So it will be ultimately will be leading to helping to the raising to the at higher level. It's a very flexible model because you can have multiple entry and exit options. There is no hard bound separation that you have, because currently of the 10th you have to decide whether going for commerce or social science or humanities or science. So there is complete separation right now. But in the new model, there will be a lot of no kind of hard tight compartment, always a chance to have mixed kind of approach. So it will be providing the holistic education. So with the kind of science, you can also understand social sciences, you can also understand the moral sciences, you can understand yoga and all. So you'll be having the holistic education. And also they'll focus on the emphasis on conceptual understanding. So in the foundational stage, the lot of focus is there on the understanding of the foundational areas. And it will lead to creative thinking and also critical thinking by this model. Ethics and human values are also a focus area, because empathy, respect for others, cleanliness, courtesy, democratic spirit, spirit for service, respect for public property, scientific temper, liberty, responsibility, pluralism, equality, and justice. These are all of the lot of ethics are there to be inculcated in the student in the foundation stage. It will be promoting the multilingualism and the power of language by this process. And focus will be there on life skills such as communication skill, cooperation, teamwork, resilience. Focus will be there on regular formative assessment for learning. So there's a formative assessment and summative assessment. Mostly right now we are focusing a lot on summative assessment. We are focusing, earlier there used to be an annual system. Now we shifted to semester system, but still focus is a lot on the summative assessment. Now new policy says that there's a lot of focus on the formative assessment. So we say that continuous assessment evaluation process will be the focus in this model. Also, this will be focusing a lot on extensive use of technology that in teaching learning process, removing the language barriers, increasing the access for the young students, educational planning and management. So this is focusing a lot on the use of technology in the education system, where will be also there's no bar for English. So currently there are a lot of bar for English is there. There are a lot of English medium schools where all the students coming from rural backgrounds, they have challenge for learning in the English language. But in this model, because foundational education will be on the local language or local area, that's why students will be able to understand the basic concepts in local language. But there is no bar that nobody can go for English school. So focus is that you'll be able to have ease of learning. You can access of learning. You can learn in the basic knowledge from your rural language, your local language, or vernacular language, or Hindi language. So English will not be the mandate, but definitely anybody who want to go for English school, you will be allowed to go. They focus on kind of respect for diversity and respect for local context in all curriculum, pedagogy, in policy, always keeping in mind the education is a concurrent subject, because education is a concurrent subject. So state and center both have right to make the policy in terms of the education. If you go earlier policy, it was focusing a lot in terms of the focusing on the education where it is a center was playing the role. Now this is focusing a lot where state and center can play a major role in defining the kind of policy, because when these vernacular language, local language, it means that state, all states are different. For example, for if you are in Bombay, you may want to study in Marathi, or even Bengal want to study in Bengali, or Odisha in Odia. So this way, I think local schooling will be flourishing, and this will be giving a lot of advantage in the fundamental and basic foundational learning. There will be full equity and inclusion as the cornerstone of all educational decisions to ensure that all students are able to thrive in educational system, and synergy in curriculum across all levels of education. So that's why if there's synergy, then only educational bank of credits will work. Because, for example, you have done a certificate course from one university and you want to join another university for your diploma. So both universities, if they have a different syllabus and curriculum, you may have a challenge, or both universities may have different kind of parameters or different level of understanding. It will be challenge. That's why This particular model says that there will be a lot of synergy in the curriculum across the country and across educational systems. Now, currently we have several systems. We have the state boards, we have CBSE, we have ICSE, we have international board, IGCSE, IB, we have then ICSE. So different boards are there, different models are there. So government is trying to kind of leverage and try to have synergy in the curriculum. Then we'll be able to do a lot of options will be there for you, exit and in options, or at any level you can leave and come back, and you can join any university. This way, even also there will be healthy competition, because all the good universities will be able to attract the good variety of the students, so they can join. And also there were teachers and faculty as the heart of the learning process, because their recruitment, continuous professional development, positive thing, working environment and service conditions will be properly managed. And also there is a light but tight regulatory framework to ensure integrity, transparency and resource efficiency of education system through audit and public disclosure, while encouraging the innovation and out of the box thinking by autonomy, good governance and empowerment. With very, very kind of ambitious kind of the targets. Let us see how much we'll be able to manage. Outstanding research as a requisite for outstanding educational development. Continuous review of progress based on sustained research and regular assessment by the educational experts or the focus area. Rootedness and pride in India. So rootedness means that once we are trying to teach in the local language, vernacular language, there will be a lot of rooted kind of the pride of India and its rich, diverse, ancient, modern culture and knowledge system and tradition system can be the focus area. Education is a public service, so access to quality education must be considered as a basic right of every child. Substantial investment in a strong, vibrant public education system, as well as the encouragement and facilitation of the true philanthropic private community participation are the focus areas. So these were the objective of the new education policy. Now, this shows that the government is very, very ambitious and trying to think that by putting the policy, we will be able to really achieve those objectives. This also have the both plus and minuses, because if we see the positive side, if you're very ambitious, very these positive, and then you feel these kind of ideals, you are very happy that we are going to very simply, we are going to achieve these targets. But this is not very easy. Keeping in mind the Indian ground realities, it will be very, very challenging task to achieve these targets. Because if you see the kind of the discussions taken place before this policy, it shows that it was one of the widely discussed, debated, and consulted policy in the world. But actually, if you see the ideals, and also if you try to compare with the Indian ground realities, it seems very, very challenging to achieve these targets. That's why if you see the light but tight regulation, and it has various kind of interpretations. One interpretation can be that light but tight. It means that government want to give flexible kind of regulation, but whatever is the target, it will be strongly implemented, controlled, okay, and executed. Other thing may be that it want to give the kind of light. It means that a lot of options given to the students, that whatever they want to choose, but then they have chosen, there will be very strong enforcement execution. So this particular statement has various kind of options. And the third option is that it may be a conflict, because sometimes if something is very light, how it can be a tight? There is no possibility of light and tight. It can be either tight or either light. So it has very wide interpretations about this particular regulation. And this accordingly, government, as per the various recommendations of various policies, various committees, the government is going to almost close UGC. Already we have the 2018, the National Education Commission recommendation that Higher Education Commission 2018 has recommended that there will be a kind of, we are going to repeal the UGC, and there will be a single regulator in the country. That regulator will be regulating the entire educational system of the country, excluding medical education and legal education. So this single regulator will try to regulate. And then now the question is that whether this regulator is so much intelligent, confident, and foresightedness they have, they can regulate all streams because also we are going to repeal the AICT and all. So only single regulator, and just take away the medical and legal education. So on one side, if you see very positive picture, it seems very kind of great policy. But if you see the real picture, if you go to on the reality, and if you understand, that will be worried that how we are going to execute. For example, the policy says that there will be a 50% enrollment, gross enrollment rate by 2035. So just we are 22, and after 13 years, how we are going to just double the gross enrollment rate, and a 1% conversion of enrollment rate will try to bring several lakh students in the market. Now, where is the school? Because as per the policy regulations, government said that there will be around 6% investment of GDP in the education system. But as even in the 1968 policy, it was said that there will be a 6% investment of GDP in the education system. But till now, government has never invested 6% in the education system. If you see the kind of actual reports, it is going to be around just 2 to 3% government has invested. Even budgeting is not there. So even budgeting is 2 to 3%, but if you see actual expenditure, it is hardly 1 or 2%. And that's why now the question is that if this is the scenario, even the current budget, government has not given 6% what they promised in the new education policy for the education system. So it means that on the first parameter, because to have the quality of education, the money is very important, investment very important. So once the government is not allocating the budgets, how we are going to have the quality education. And also one proposal is that there will be a lot of private and public PPP partnership, public-private philanthropic partnership will be there. And also we say that under the Indian system, nobody should try to have educational system as a profit motive. So we say that under Section 8 in the Companies Act, you can have non-profit making university or colleges, schools, and also you can have a trust, you can NGO, NGO is not for profit. So the first controversy is that government is expecting a lot of investment from privates, and also saying that the private should not be willing any profit. So there is a conflict. Why somebody will go for heavy investment where he cannot or she not be able to raise the profits? Second thing is that it is not covered under the kind of Factories Act, not covered under the just like industry. And as if you see the kind of the WTO norms under the GATS, General Agreements on the Trade and Services, it says that education is a service, and it has kind of 12 areas. Out of 12 areas, there are more than 150 sub areas dealing about the service. So in Indian regulatory system, there are a lot of conflicting areas. So government expect very heavy investment, very fast growth, because currently even if you see last 10 years, government has hardly invested money in the new university system. Mostly private universities are coming very fast. So already what we have seen, more than 50% education imparted by the private groups, and where law says that they cannot have profit motive. Okay. Second thing is that government is saying, putting lot of kind of foundation that you should have at least, some states says that you must have 40-acre land for university. Some states say that 25-acre. Some says that if you open in the kind of municipal local limits, 20 acres. If you open outside that in the village areas, 30 acres. So all these states have different kind of regulatory framework for starting university, because to start a private university, the act must be passed from the state legislature, or you can go for deemed universities. So how somebody can have such a big plot of land with a very costly affair? Then you have to have some build-up areas. Then you have to go for passing the act from the Vidhan Sabha. You know very well that how it is difficult to get an act passed by the Vidhan Sabha. Then you have to get lot of approval from different regulatory bodies, where ICT or BCI or kind of UGC. And then after that, you have to go for NAC, NIRF, NBA. So many regulations are there. In this scenario, how you can expect a private group where they're not expecting the kind of the profit, and also they will expect and the heavy investment, and also try to bring excellence, have good publications. Okay, how it is possible? So there are a lot of conflicting areas. The Indian system is there. And the latest challenge is that because government is saying that there will be a cluster of colleges. So government is saying that there should not be affiliate colleges. So this is very difficult, kind of very challenging and very controversial issue that government is saying that all the colleges should be merged in a cluster and become university. So where there are 3,000 students will be there and will become university, and then other colleges should try to merge. So all these private college in district are run by small trust. Okay. And how these trusts will come together and join hands to become university. What should be the system of coordination? Who will coordinate? How they will coordinate? What will be the kind of the common meeting points for them to join the cluster? And the second point is that even if they are able to join and become a cluster, become university, and all colleges are merged, and then the next point is that because in the village areas, the serious problem of communication is there, transportation is there. Because currently these colleges are located at various villages. Once these colleges will be shifted to a bigger space in a district headquarters, how these villagers, poor student where there is no transportation facility, how they will go and join the college. It means that one side we expect the gross enrollment rate raising from 27% to 50%. Other side, we are cutting the chances because once these schools, colleges are not there in the local limits, it is in the district headquarters because there should be a cluster of the colleges and other will be closing. Then how they are going to access and the education? They cannot get the proper transportation. They cannot, and then once they will be going to a cluster at the big college, even fee may also be revised because it may become costlier because transportation time plus cost plus once the cluster, they may further charge the heavy price. So this way, what I think there are a lot of conflicting points happening with this particular model. Third thing is that because government is saying that they have done a lot of consultation, discussions and all, there is no data. If you see the Kothari Commission of 1968, this, if you read the recommendation of this commission, if you read the report, there are a lot of data points are there. You'll enjoy reading the reports. But we see the current report of the 2020 of the led by the great person, the K. Kasturi Rangan. This committee is not having data. So without, it is talking in the air. It is just like very ideal situation without connecting with the data, actual situation. It has given very, very ideal conditions. It is just like somebody is reading a poetry and that it is just like in the air that we will do and just by magic bond, things will happen. This will not happen because Indian ground conditions very, very different than what we trying to expect to achieve. So that's why there are a lot of challenges with us to achieve what we targeted. So ideally, if you see, is very, very kind of good. If you read I've just read the ideals, read the objectives, it is great objectives. But how we are going to achieve? Because these objectives are not based on various data points. There is no analysis. Because in this particular bill or particular policy is inspired by the American system. So if you see the drafting committee of and this policy, there was a expert from the American university. And what we have done, we tried to follow the American model. Because in American model, there is no affiliation of the colleges. There are standalone universities, state university, big universities. But India has invented a new model of affiliate colleges. It is Indian invention, innovation. Instead of closing this model, we should have tried to do a lot of research to refine this model. And other foreign countries may be adopting this model. Because keeping in mind the Indian scenario, affiliate colleges are the requirement. Because universities are too far from villages and very few in numbers. How you can expect everybody going to university? And also every student is not targeting to go university and get the higher education. Every student may be having different levels of the requirement. Okay. So one side we are saying, let us give flexibility, affordability to the student. They will choose. As per the choice, they will have a lot of mixed kind of understanding, mixed kind of multidisciplinary knowledge. They can afford the education. On the other side, you are going to club the universities, close the colleges, and make a clusters. How it is possible? it is going to be a very, very serious matter. So I think what we do, we further review, analyze the ideals, what we are targeting to achieve, because it seems very, very challenging to achieve these targets, because time will tell that how we are going to achieve these targets. And also, if you see that the structure given for the Higher Education Commission, that how it will be run. So this says that there will be a lot of bureaucrats, there will be a minister of, from the Education Ministry, there will be some vice chancellors and all. So this small group and committee may not be able to have the entire knowledge to provide excellence in each areas. That's why I'm not sure that what will be the outcome. But if you see the Indian ground realities, it is very, very challenging to achieve those outcomes, what is targeted in the this new education policy. Next point is that regarding this kind of a fee regulation. So this report says that there will be a lot of control on the fee. So if you are not supporting the fee, not giving autonomy to the university and colleges to charge their fee, then how you can expect, because you are saying it is not for profit. Again, you are saying the lot of land plus faculty student ratio, for a lot of infrastructure, for quality research, a lot of library, this and that. And also for a lot of, you're saying there are a lot of technologies required. Even all the online journals, all the online platforms, a very, very costly affair. What we have seen during the pandemic, only 30% universities, colleges were running the online education. 70% could not run. Last 2 years, there was no learning, no teaching was happening in 70% colleges, universities in the country. Those who belong to rural areas, mostly primary education were almost closed, madrasa were almost closed. Only on the very good, powerful universities who are financially strong, faculty students are strong, they're able to sustain, they're able to buy the technology, mobile phone, laptops, they have the data, they have the kind of the internet connection, they could survive. How we can actually survive in future, where we are saying that the colleges should not charge a fee as per their choice, they have to be within the limits. So if they are within the limits, if they're not able to generate the funds, how they're going to invest for further development? And then it is not possible. If you see the kind of the, if you understand the economics, how it is possible, how they will feel motivated, encouraged to invest further to raise the standards, where government is just not willing to share the funds with the college universities. So these are some of the points I wanted to discuss with all of you. And then now the current point is that regarding the syncing up the industry and academia, because the industry will grow automatically and industry will not think about the education. Because, for example, whether you know how to operate the mobile phones or not, whether you know what is the technology of the mobile phone, internet and all, if the buyers are there, the buyers will buy, industry will produce, whether laws are there or not. Right now, already we have the kind of the convergent model. A mobile phone has all kind of possibilities to do kind of anything that may land up in 5-6 legal areas. Maybe you can say the Telegraph Act, or the IT Act, or maybe the Wireless Telegraphy Act, or maybe TRI Act and all. In a single mobile phones, you're going to affect 5 laws, and these laws are different. And we could have a convergence law. Even there is no convergence law, but convergent model is running. This model will not wait whether law is there or not. So that's why currently already we are in the industry 4.0. We had the industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Now we have reached to industry 4.0. Industry 1.0 was there when for the first time we shifted from steam engine to mechanical engine. Okay. Then 2.0 came when we shifted from mechanical to electronics. 3.0 came when we shifted from electronics to computer science and all in 1995. And after 1995, we are now shifting strongly to the online mode and all. So already we are in the industry 4.0. We are having a lot of automations, AI and cloud computing and all, machine learning. Already it is happening in the market. Even this program is happening on the online mode. So this is already we are in the industry 4.0 model, where all the equipments gadgets we are using. Now, whether we are also in the education 4.0, because education also sync to the industry. So we were in the education 1.0, education 2.0, education 3.0. Whether every university college switch over to education 4.0. Whether every school call in the country will be able to have webinars, online education, online journals, online library. Okay, every student have gadgets, data, network, connectivity, whether it is possible. So that is the reality. Industry 4.0 is a reality, but whether education 4.0 is there or not. So that syncing is required. Same way industry will grow automatically, but whether education will be able to sync. So there is a conflict. Ultimately, education should drive the industry in the country, but it is otherwise in India. Industry is trying to run the education, where education should try to run the industry. We should be able to tell, because if you see the reality in the country is that no breakthrough is coming in the Indian kind of universities, laboratories. All the innovations mostly coming from R&D of the company. Companies are holding more patents. They're doing more innovations, more creativity. They're holding the entire IPR kind of this certification knowledge and the kind of the ownership than the universities. So that's why we have to kind of develop universities so level, kind of so innovative, creative. The professors, researchers should be able to create something that is really worth and solving the problems. So if you're able to, university can solve the problems, industry will come and the commercialize the technology, and ultimately money will come to the university. So that's why a lot of kind of the shifting is required from industry dominated research, innovation, R&D to university dominated research and R&D, where university should try to run the industry, not the industry otherwise. So that is the Indian scenario. In this scenario, I'm not sure how the new education policy is very, very ambitious, very, very ideal, lacking the data, proper analysis, not able to connect to the basic Indian scenario. How much will be successful? I have my own doubts. With these few words, I thank you all for joining this session, listening patiently. Now floor is open for any Q&A. Thank you all of you.
Yeah, thank you so
Thanks
much.
a lot, Professor Tabriz. In fact, a lot of, what you have put forward, you talked about a lot of contradictions. We are saying, but we are not in a position to meet those needs. Particularly when you talk about public-private philanthropic bodies. So I think, how do we explain this? Maybe this you can treat as the first question. How do you explain this? And after that, Professor Parul will be taking questions from the chat box. I think 10 odd questions are already there. Over to you, sir, for this answer.
Okay. So question is that government is saying that we are going to raise the gross enrollment rate from currently 26.3% to 50% by 2035. So if you calculate from today, just 13 years are left. In 13 years, we are going to be double population of the student. So if you make a base point, suppose if there are 1 crore student right now in the entire Indian university system or colleges, there will be 2 crores. For example, it may be more. So for 1 crore, where is the infrastructure? Where is the teacher? Where is the laboratory? Okay, where is the library? Where is the technology? And you are saying that it will be done in a public-private philanthropic partnership. The word philanthropy says that it means those who will come forward, they will not be willing to charge any price. They're not having profit motive, because as per the sections 8 of the companies, you can open university under a non-profit company, or you can open a trust. So it is very conflicting. One way you are not saying university is an industry, you are not allowing them to earn the profits, and you are saying that you expect them that they will come so big way, very encouraged to come and invest money and open universities, where you are saying that you cannot charge profit. If any university is showing surplus, the tax agencies will come and have a lot of queries that how you are able to get so much money, this and that. So what is happening actually? Everybody is earning profit indirectly, illegally. Why not to allow them legally? Make just like a open competition, and then we'll be able to have all good class universities, all kind of universities. It will be market dependent. If you can pay the price, you can get quality education. You cannot pay the price, go to lower quality education, and then government is there just to maintain the kind of interest of the poor sections. Government should come forward and try to invest money where everybody will be able to have the affordable, accessible kind of the education. That's why the policy has its own conflicting areas. And that's why what we are saying, whether we are able to achieve those targets is very, very challenging. And what I mentioned about the 6% GDP was targeted in 1968 at that time. Till now, after 70, 80 years, not a single point of time, government has put 6% budget of GDP. Even they put 2%, 3%, 4%. If you see the record, I was just going for the record of the investment of the budgets. Mostly every university, every government university, private, central, they are returning the money every year, because whatever was given to them, they are not able to invest. So this shows that the lack of the willingness, motivation of the vice chancellors, deans, directors, professors, of those who are leading the projects, even they are not able to invest what they've got from the government. That's why government never felt pressure to give more money to the universities. Okay, so that is the Indian ground realities. In this model, this policy is very, very ambitious. So I have my own doubts whether we are able to get success or not.
Thank you. In fact, you talked about also that this is entirely based, the model has come from United States, right? The American model has been taken up by the Indian government.
I'm saying that in the committee, there was a professor from the foreign university, American university, and the committee was totally inspired by his approach. And we are twisted to accept the American model. What we have seen that because America is leading the world in the education system, we thought just to change the model will also raise the Indian education standards. We become America. That is not scenario. The affiliation system in the Indian scenario is a new Indian innovation, because we are able to really go to grassroots level. One university maybe in city areas having a lot of affiliate colleges in village areas, and then one kind of the qualified group is trying to control all the colleges, at least learning, reading, teaching happening. Once we make clusters, and then you are going to close these colleges, and these colleges may not agree, because all are independent private colleges. They have different terms and conditions, different cost. Why they will agree? Because they have investment in their colleges. And then you are saying that some will close, some will become university. How it will happen? Because there is no policy document that to say that how it is going to be happening. That part is missing in the policy.
Thank you. So over to you, Parul. Take the questions one by one.
So, thank you so much, sir. Over to the questions. So there's a question from Shivangi Shelja. She's a PhD scholar at Amity School of Languages, Amity University, Rajasthan. She's asking, would the incorporation of technology be helpful for the children who belong to lower middle class? Because many children are not very comfortable.
It's always great
with gadgets and the software used nowadays. During the pandemic situation, many underprivileged students were not able to attend online classes because their families cannot afford a high-end gadget or were not familiar with the software used. So
in fact, when I said in 1990, what I remember, because my area is cyber law and IPR, I always talk about the IT. When I said in almost 2004 in a seminar that the right to IT should be a kind of human rights. So a lot of human cry. People say that how you can say right to IT is a fundamental rights, human rights, when there is no electricity, no sanitation, no food, no shelter given to the people. How it is very kind of ambitious to have the IT. But in the pandemic, we realized that the very dangerous dividing factor can be IT. So those who were able to access IT for 2 years during pandemic, their growth rate, those students, poor schools, colleges, village areas, they could not access technology in last 2 years, their level. It is a huge gap. So that the gap and have-nots is created more by technology than by the water, shelter, sanitation, okay, and food. So I'm very happy to have this question, because now the technology is very important. So government should come forward. It's a government duty to come forward to give basic technology to the people, to the student. So they'll be able to have the basic learning. Otherwise, what will happen? All the rich people will be able to grow very fast, and all the poor persons will be lagging behind, too much lagging behind, because the kind of level of learning by use of technology. For example, if you are learning right now, because all of those who are attending this particular program, all are, I think, financially sound. So everybody has a mobile or laptop, or at least they have the internet connection. They have they are able to listen my lecture. But see, if those students who are not having laptop, mobile phone, no internet, they're missing this lecture. So their level of learning will be very, very kind of affected because of the digital divide. So this particular government is saying that we will be doing but whether they'll be really doing, because the investment part is not very, very kind of supportive. They're not able to provide the salary to the teachers, not able to provide proper support, library and classroom infrastructure. How you can understand that they're able to provide every student a good technology, where there is also running cost is very, very high, because then you have to go for the, recharging the mobile, paying the internet fee. And also every mobile may have hardly 2-3 years life. Then again, you require another mobile, another laptop. Okay. All the online journals, technology, they are on license basis. I'm paying around 30-40 lakh every year just to renew the licenses, whether a poor college school can pay, because we are one of the established groups, so we are paying. So that's why technology is very important. And in this particular policy, government is saying that there will be a lot of support of technology. It is very, very ambitious, but whether it will be really happening. But if you ask my opinion, it is very, very important, because it is more powerful to create digital divide than the basic needs.
Exactly. So, Dr. Parul, it's almost 4 o'clock. So if you can compile the questions.
Yeah, so there's a series of questions from, I think, Santosh Kumar ji. He is asking, now, will the NEP be able to stop brain drain? Will the NEP be able to provide quality education in rural areas? Then will the NEP be able to change the educational scenario of the largest democratic country of the world, India?
Yeah. So I just started my lecture by putting that why we started thinking to a new education policy. The turning point was that why India is not able to focus in top 100 universities in the world. Hardly any one university, even one is not there. Out of 200, only one Indian is focusing university. So that is a moot point. So it means there is so much potential, so much good work done by Indian students in foreign universities. Why not we can do in India? So that is why the whole policy started and have very ideal kind of the objectives, but it is not supported by data. So objective is that we should stop brain drain. We should have the high quality international research. Government is saying that those who have the top 100 universities in the world, they can come to India, establish campuses. Government is giving the green signal now. So it is all ideal. How much will become successful, time will tell. But definitely the target is that to make India an education hub. People should come to India, not Indians should go to the foreign universities. So now the brain should come to India, not Indian brain go for drain to the foreign universities. That is the whole target. But the time will tell. But currently as per the current scenario, it looks very, very challenging to achieve those targets.
So thanks a lot. In fact, this ignited many debates, and we will be thinking about, maybe it's very ambitious, but at the end of the day, maybe some good will emerge out of it.
Sure.
So thanks a lot, Professor Ahmed, for your deliberations. Dr. Parul, we have other questions.
We have two questions also, if sir can take. Sir, again, there's a question from Shivangi only. Don't you think the target students for NEP is very limited?
Repeat the question, please.
Polemy is asking, how will 4 years of graduation, it will affect time and knowledge?
No, it has another dimension that because if you talk about the 4 years time period, so one good thing is that because at every year you are able to get certified. First year you get certificate, second year diploma, third year degree. So you have a lot of liberty to exit. So that's why it is a good thing. You will be able to exit. But again, the problematic thing is that if you are not able to provide proper quality education, a lot of exit will be there. Okay. So you planned for 3 years, you maintained the student faculty ratio, made a good building, good land you purchased, and you started the course. And then because of the demand of some other courses, some other university, good is there, and you start losing the student at each level. So how as a private you will survive? Because you are depending on the students. Currently, at least you can retain. You can say, no, you cannot go. You have to, once you join the course, you finish in 3 years, or maybe if you talk about architecture, it is 5 year or law 5 year. But in the new, at least law is not there in this particular scenario. Medical is not there, but other discipline is there. So BTech is 4 year course. So if you start losing student at every year, how you are financially become viable? And then who are the students who are going to be super specialized? Because then it means that everybody is focusing just to get some certificates and go in the market. And second thing is that for a lot of multiple entry exit option, lot of counseling is required. If you are saying, because anybody provided lot of free hand can be a tool for disaster and tool for excellence. If you give a lot of autonomy, it will be a tool for excellence. If you are very mature, you are learned, it will be tool for excellence. You definitely enjoy the kind of autonomy. But if you are not very learned, mature, and well informed, it will be tool for disaster. So those students who will not be taking proper care and caution counseling to join which course they have to take and then which additional they should take. For example, we are saying anybody with engineering can take social science or political science, okay, and psychology. Whether the student will be taking this particular additional course as a choice is helping in becoming excellent, super specialized, or simply he just want to enjoy his life. He was going to become a computer science scientist, and there are a lot of companies in the market to become super scientists, but he was taking additional courses in political science, sociology, economics, then he has taken music, then he has taken a foreign language. So my query is that it will be a good options are given, but then additional burden is there to properly guide, counsel those students. They should take informed decision to select those courses. It will help them to become a professional and have more competitive oriented in the market to become successful than to just pass the life in the university.
Thank you so much for your valuable inputs. So with that, we will go to the next session, Professor Parul.
Yeah, yes, Sandeep sir has joined, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Tabriz sir. Thank you very much.
Tabriz ji, you must be knowing maybe Professor Sancheti.
Yeah, I know Sandeep very well. So thank you, Sandeep. Nice to see you on the screen. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
All of you. Nice kind of interaction and nice participation. And thanks for invitation. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So before asking Professor Sandeep Sancheti to deliberate on his topic, I'd like to introduce sir to all of you, all the participants. He's an institution builder, policy planner, regular columnist on various academic policies. He's promoter of sports in higher education. He's well known for his intellectual strategic foresight. He holds a PhD from Queen's University of Belfast, UK, MSc Engineering from DTU Delhi, and BTech from NIT Warangal. He is currently the Vice Chancellor and Provost at Marwari University, Rajkot. And also, he was the past or former president of Association of Indian Universities, AIU, New Delhi. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Dr. Chakravarti. Thank you, Dr. Parul Mishra, for inviting me. Also, thanks to the leadership of Amity Jaipur, Professor Bhatnagar and Professor Jain for this invitation.
Jain is joining us, sir. Soon he'll be joining in, I think, a second only.
Okay, no problem. Say my hello to them, and that would be nice if they can join. And also, please allow me the access to screen share. I'd like to make use of some 10 slides to make my points so that they are effective.
Already done.
And also, if you find some problem with the slide movement in the full screen mode, do alert me by your interruption or voice call that it's not moving. So I'll try that. So very happy to join with you with the Amity system, and particularly Jaipur, because I come from Jaipur. Right now, I'm talking to all of you from a hotel room in Goa. So maybe the light is probably not adequate or slightly shady here, but I'm very happy that this commitment was made some 2 months back, and I'm able to honor that. If there are any issues, once again, with the connectivity, do let me know about it.
So everything is fine, and there is no light problem.
So Amit sir is joined, sir.
Thank you for
Professor Jain, our honorable VC has joined. Pro VC has joined.
Great. Namaste, Professor Bhatnagar Saab, Professor Jain Saab. Very nice to see you.
Thank you so much, sir. We are honored and delighted with your presence. Thanks for accepting our invitation. And actually, I am also attending. We have an MOU with National Institute of Ayurveda, and they have organized today this National Ayush Expo.
Okay.
So I was just attending the inaugural session, and I just moved out. We look forward to listen to your words. I was so fortunate to receive your mentorship, sir.
Okay, thank you. We all do multiplexing, multiple roles, multitasking in these positions. I understand your predicament and your commitments. So please, if you need to move out and attend that, please do it by all means. So I'll make a move with my presentation, and I'll try to make it full screen in a second, if that is possible. Right now, it's not a full screen. Is it full screen now?
Yeah, now it is.
Is it in the full screen mode now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's full screen now.
Okay, great. So fine. So I've been given the assignment, I would say, or the task or the topic by the organizers only, that I should speak about internationalization of universities, which I gladly accepted because I was part of some of the Government of India drives initiatives where we became quite successful. And today also the university which I represent, the Marwadi University, is one of the top 3 performers of the country in Study in India initiative. I'm just referring to government initiatives, but I must also agree and tell you that there is no one to beat MET when it comes to internationalization. So मेरी तरफ से जो मैं बताऊंगा बोलूंगा वो मेरे ख्याल से आपके लिए थोड़ा हल्का ही रहेगा क्योंकि you yourself are pretty big in that, and MET I think has a huge presence in various countries. And I do not know about the various models with which you worked, but I know about your presence, and I'm sure you have a lot of wealth of knowledge when it comes to internationalization. However, I'll show and share my perspective in doing so. And basically, if I talk about the general introduction, I would say that internationalization obviously was sought after or was demanded or was seeded way back somewhere around 2008-9 in form of a foreign education bill to formalize it. But that never took shape. It could never be passed by the parliament, and it was never given its due. But at that time, there was a strong feeling that government should do something in a formal way. After that, it has been kind of a swinging up and down. It's a transient state. Some policy comes which tells that you can do something, and some policy will come that you cannot do something. All those kind of things are there. There was a time when there was a blanket ban on private institutions without approval of UGC or some bodies to go for MOUs and all that. So those challenges always remained in the educational domain when it came to what you call the internationalization. But I must say that now that NEP has come, NEP 2020 has come, it is formally accepting it, formally recognizing it, formally wanting it to us to do it. And it has not spelled out all the models, but obviously it is for us. Under the autonomy of our functioning, we should be able to create the models without really impacting the students and the models wrongly or otherwise. And therefore, there has to be some guarding against certain misdoings which can happen in these open kind of autonomous models which are there. Why it is needed? Obviously, globalization of workforce, Indians are going in large number, and why not expose our students to do or learn something about the internationalization, living in their conditions or working in their conditions or whatever it may be. Other issues which are related to internationalization is affordability and awareness. I think affordability was a question. Why we saw so many people in Ukraine and Russia or Poland or wherever it is. I don't think so they were there for quality. Maybe some of them were not really aware and they just wanted an outside India degree. So I found a large number of students were there from economics also. BSc economics or BCom kind of courses being done in those places where India is equally strong was slightly unusual for me to learn. So maybe there are issues which are genuine, which are of affordability, and there are issues which are probably not so genuine of awareness that people get swayed by what is there in the international label and they go there. And then of course, internationalization also fetches all of us rankings and ratings, which are very, very must. We are all dying to get higher ranks and ratings and recognitions and then IOEs and categories and all that. And therefore, internationalization is its value. And if not Indian, I would say possibly the QS and THE and some other organizations like that keep driving that how much is internationalization. However, in Indian context, it has to be taken with a little bit of pinch of salt. Then, of course, you need collaborations because you need to collaborate where the excellence is there. An example of that would be that Taiwan is too good for electronic manufacturing. 60 to 70% of the world's chips are getting manufactured there. And fortunately, very recently, just before the last budget, Government of India announced 76,000 crore worth investment for electronic chip manufacturing. And that's all with the collaboration with the Taiwan. So why shouldn't we collaborate with Taiwan institutions, make our manpower ready, whether it's for design, fabrication, testing, or putting plants in place, various things which can be done. And therefore, this is just an example which I'm trying to give you. Similarly, collaboration in teaching and research demands are there. Everything cannot be in terms of reinventing the wheel, which happens that whatever US has done will have to be reinvented here and vice versa. If it is invented, then we can take it forward by adding some value to it. And particularly in COVID, we saw that the international collaboration for research, etc., particularly for vaccinations, became very, very important. And a lot of industries or a lot of institutions and a lot of countries collaborated. We ourselves had things from Oxford, and we ourselves also supplied to many other partner nations and something like that. So internationalization in that sense is very important. Another thing is knowledge is not the property of any specific country. Why I'm making this is, you probably know that the growth wave or the wave of advancement, or maybe a leading country of the world, these tags, whatever you attach, most powerful and most whatever, keep moving from time to time. If you see last 2-3 centuries, maybe Europe was very powerful, Portugal, UK, etc. were there. Then of course things moved and Germany and someone else did something, Japan and all that, then probably USA and so on and so forth. And later parts, if you see South Korea, Israel, Taiwan, China, they are becoming popular. Nothing is stable. These things keep moving. And they will move to us only if we keep ourselves engaged with the international domain. Just sitting in our home, we cannot get it. And we should also be in this particular list. And I'm sure by my imagination, it says it should come to India and should come to India also. And not only that, it should go to Africa and some other places also if it is possible. Then of course, new job demands, whether we are doing the job in India or outside, the marketing would be international, particularly with Amazons and Googles coming into picture. Production with the 3D printing can be anywhere. Your designs, your materials can be there. Sourcing of raw material has to be very critical, whether it's a very high-end electronic item for material where China is the most important, or there is something else maybe in terms of precious stones and all that, where maybe South America or maybe Africa is important. You need to know the international world. And that's why it's very important. Use of innovations and transfer of technologies can be sold everywhere. Patenting is happening everywhere. And therefore, innovation, patenting, transfer technology has to be an international domain. Many of us apply for Australian and US patents because we want to show that I have got a patent. We don't do it for India because it's taking time. It's something else is happening. But we have to understand the repercussions of that, whether it will be useful. Can someone then use it in India? Should it be done like that just to fill up your CV and all that? All those things can be probably understood. And I must tell you proudly, as I was trying to tell you in the beginning, we have created very useful models in Marwadi University, where I'm currently serving, that we have students from 52 countries. Around 11% of my real population is truly international. And I would say not NRIs. They are truly international, representing 52 countries. So this is just the backdrop. I thought I'll explain to you. Beyond this, I'll be coming to some of the schemes and some of the points and some of the examples where we are successful or where there are roadblocks. And then now, of course, with NEP coming, formally accepting it, we should be removing those roadblocks. So why is some of the, what would be some of the building blocks of an internationalization? If I take the first row, diversity and quality, both can be improved. Diversity adds the usefulness of the teaching, taught program or learning, whatever it may be. And then of course, quality, because you get the best from other sources. You may not have everything as the best, and therefore you can get it from India. You can get it from outside India also. For example, MOOC. MOOC can be a good Indian MOOC also, and MOOC can be from anywhere, edX or Coursera or Udacity or Udemy or MIT OpenCourseWare or whatever it can be. Whether you call it international course or you call it Indian course, I don't mind, but they improve my quality. They come from international source, and therefore it should be partly be understood in the perspective of internationalization. You have done fantastically well in your degree program. You've taken many good courses. For some reason, you don't like the degree to be awarded from here for whatever reasons, because you have dreams to go outside. From that MOOC courses or set of MOOC courses, you can get an international degree also. I know Coursera platform provides that. Maybe many other platforms are also providing that. Our Indian NPTEL platform doesn't provide that, but it may do it probably soon if so required. Similarly, research interaction, I've already given you the example of COVID and various other things. And there are many big time examples of world research in terms of big bucket, a big ticket kind of a research, and everyone joins. Internationalization is very important. For electronics domain, from which I come, I think there was a very big experiment called Iridium of 77 satellites. Finally, when they launched, it was 66 satellites, and it was to cover the globe with the mobile connectivity. And this was way back in year 2000, 22 years back, and it was done successfully. India had also put up a lot of money, and many other countries had also put up a lot of money. The only thing was operationalizing of it became costly, so it became unsuccessful. But technologically, it was a marvel, and this was possible only because the research interactions were there. Newer models of education, you'll probably see in later slides what are those newer models which are there. You can do distributed degrees now. Of course, you can do twinning programs, and you can do integrated programs and various other things which are features which are possible. So there are newer models of education because they also have some beauty. We also have some beauty. We can combine and deliver that to our students. And then, of course, publications and patents can be done easily, because if there is a facility in US or UK and we collaborate and we have some facility, we can always do it. And that fetches us much more value or brownie points when it comes to international ranking. I must tell you that some of you are talking about, I think previous speaker, Professor Ahmed, was talking about Indian ranks are not there in the international ranking in QS and THE. There are many reasons. I'll not justify that. Those reasons can be that we don't have enough internationalization there. We don't have a high per capita expenditure there. We don't have international faculty there. Various things are there. But I must tell you that the points which are given to you in terms of perception, and perception is very heavily loaded in those kind of QS and THE rankings which are there. Indian institutes fail miserably in perception. That's because they have not collaborated enough, or even if they have collaborated, they have not done enough to make an impact. And therefore, their presence, except that we are supplying good set of students, is not much in terms of new knowledge contribution. So once we are able to do that, making an impact that this technology is made in India, coming from this institution, that probably people will recognize. And that's how you will probably see internationalization will be there. And then, of course, financial sustainability. Many international institutions, whether it is UK or USA, subsidize the education for their local people and charge a little bit more from the international students, and therefore maintain the financial sustainability. That's also the reason why internationalization is used, particularly in places like California and all that. They promise certain scholarships and admissions and every such thing to all the students and at a reasonable cost, but they charge more. So there are many things by which you can say internationalization is sought after or promoted. If I have to now talk about internationalization and NEP 2020, I think most of you know about NEP 2020. So you can, and NEP 2020, by the way, focuses on internationalization at home. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of that also. It also talks about that we need to be Vishwa Guru. If we need to be a Vishwa Guru, obviously we have to go to the Vishwa. We have to go to the outside world and tell what we are doing, how we are doing, and we'll have to collaborate with them. Without collaboration, nothing would happen. I must here make a mention. Once again, in the last talk, I was listening because I just joined 15 minutes back. There was a mention that you can collaborate with first 100 and first 200. That's fine, because we think someone superior to us should help us. That's very fine. But if the US and UK organizations decide that we should collaborate with only top 100, because we will not collaborate with anything beyond 200, then none of the institutions will find a collaborator. One side, India says it should be from top 100 or 200. On other side, they say that it should be from top 100 and 200 where we don't fall. So it will be a mismatch completely. So I think that's a wrong notion. You should collaborate with a partner who's like-minded, the purpose is there, the value exchange is possible, and so on and so forth. I would like to break that taboo by saying, oh, I'll only shake hands with the person who is better than me. If it is the case, then why should he shake hands with me because I'm inferior to him? I think that notion should be changed somehow. Of course, research, teaching, collaborations and all that can happen because high quality foreign institutions are there. They have tremendous facilities. More so, their PG programs are sought after. In India, PG programs are a bottleneck right now. We need to improve it. Large number of students initially were going to PG studies only, but later they started going for UG also, as we have seen in the case of Ukraine and Russia, primarily because of other reasons, but also because we did not maintain a very good standard in general, and therefore the internationalization become something very important for them. Also, I would like to say that credit acquired from foreign universities would be permitted wherever appropriate for award of degrees. Government has created a ABC model, Academic Bank of Credit. I was heavily involved in that, but that has not been spelled out properly, that how will we select the institutions and this and that, but doesn't matter. If they have not done it, let it be on our own. I have already been partnering with many institutions for last 10, 15, 20 years. I have already been transferring credits of semester abroad program or something like that of my students to their degree and awarding them degree. I think I can continue with that model. We should not depend upon the government for doing everything which is required to be done. And that's the beauty, I would like to say, when it comes to credit exchange and all that. And by the way, next few slides will talk about 1 or 2 points which are there. Foreign languages can be important because we are going to be in a shrunk world, or maybe globe as a village or whatever it may be. And therefore, if you know more, you will be probably be at advantage for that. So sometimes the languages and other things can be there. And then, of course, various other things on climate and all that, or possibly healthcare and agriculture. These are cross-cutting measures across countries. They are not necessarily what happens with a forecast of rain or forecast of some insect in the agriculture field and all that. If it affects Pakistan, it affects India also, and it can affect some other country. So if there are things which are shared and collaborated upon and researched upon, probably we can help each other. So I'll just talk about some international opportunities and models which are available, of course, to our students. And the first thing is you can always obtain foreign degrees, as many of us have done, and I have also done for my PhD, that I went abroad as a Commonwealth scholar and I got my PhD from there. Not necessarily that I was keen on that, but at that time when I was trying to do that, opportunities were very limited in engineering, particularly in electronics in India. That was late 80s and early 90s, and therefore I had to go. But there are people who would have otherwise gone and taken foreign degrees, and they have done so. Exchange programs, particularly semester abroad program, is very, very popular in some of the top institutions. I'm sure Amity is doing it very well. My earlier institution, SRM and Manipal, were also doing extremely well. But this model, I think, was initially seeded by IITs and maybe IIMs also, I'm not sure, but IITs used to do and send their students for a semester exchange program for quite some time. And then entire set of semesters credit will be transferred and counted towards degree. I do not know whether it was counted towards CGPA or the positioning or ranking, etc. But they were certainly counted towards completion of degree requirements in terms of semesters which are there. Then, of course, short-term programs can be there, which are important. We should all do. Why? Because when I was in India, I always thought the Westerners or the advanced countries were highly superior. We were very backward. Once I went there, I realized that we are no different. We are equally superior or equally inferior, whatever you can say, and we are capable. And that belief came to me only once I went abroad. So even if you go for short-term, month or 2 or 6 months, possibly you will find that you are equally good, and therefore that exposure to outside world should be important, and that's why you should do it. Then, of course, there are many unique models of 3+1, 2+2, or there is a very famous model of main Manipal, ICAS model, they call it, and through that you can move to 40 different world institutions and complete your degrees in a certain way. Of course, it remains to be competitive, Somewhere dual degrees are given, somewhere something else is given as a concession in terms of fee, somewhere some credit bypass is given to you if you are going for masters. And of course, as I said, you get an international exposure also if you intend to work in that domain. Integrated twinning programs and all that kind of things happen. Very recently, I must tell you, 2 years back, 3 years back, even IITs, which we rate to be very, very good institutions, even IISc, and I was part of that delegation to Singapore, where in the presence of the Prime Minister, the associations were made between NTU, NUS, and IITs to make sure that they deliver joint degree programs. Same thing is being done by IIT Bombay and Monash, that they give joint degree programs. I'm saying for PhD. So though we thought it is not a taught program, it's a research and self-work-based program, these models also find some important place when it comes to internationalization. Distributed campuses can be another approach. I have taken only one example of SP Jain, where they teach a program in 3 or 4 different locations in Singapore, in Australia, or maybe in Dubai or in India or something like that. I'm sure Amity must also be doing some similar courses, which probably I'm not aware, but these are good models. But for certain set of programs like management, where a different kind of a trait is to be delivered to the students, not necessarily for engineering or not necessarily for the medical, where the barriers of practicing or touching the patients or learning from patients would be very, very difficult. Then, of course, India's major problem was that our policy framework was not stable. As I was telling you, in the last 10 to 15 years, many times the government did ding dong in terms of changing something, banning something, taking some permission, putting a condition like top 100 is what you can collaborate and what you cannot collaborate and all that. So those confusions didn't allow. So though technically there was some opening in last 10 years, but none of the campuses from abroad came and doing business or rather education thing more properly. Finally, I would say under the NEP framework, this ABC, Academic Bank of Credit, is a model where anytime, anywhere, any speed, any language, any physical location, any subject combination, these are the freedoms which are there. Ultimately, a student can make his or her course, decide his or her teacher, decide the timetable also, if it is available as a slotted timetable, that he can pick the timetable. And possibly the largest extreme point would be design the degree also. Something like that can be possible under ABC. And when that happens, internationalization will be at full spectrum or full availability in terms of what you want to do. If I want to learn one course which is taught by best professor of Stanford, I will do that and get my credits and get transferred, and I'll still get an IIT, NIT or MIT degree. Those credits, why not? I should be allowed. I eat the best, I wear the best of clothes, I go to the best places, I make the best friends. Why not I do the best education and best courses which I want? This is the power of education which is going to come. I take you through the next slide, which says, which are these successful examples of Indian campuses abroad? Government is wanting Indian education to be at the fore or it's doing well. And let's therefore talk about something. So initially it was mostly on the invitation from respective governments. Several Indian institutions or higher education institutions ventured internationally. I must give you the example of Manipal, which ventured into Malaysia, or maybe in the Nepal, and then later in the Middle East, and then later in Antigua and West Indies. And then they were, of course, trying something in Sri Lanka, but I'm not sure what has happened to that. After that, I probably left Manipal setup, so I'm not following it. But these were all on the invitation of the respective governments, and governments were partner in certain cases. In certain cases, they were not partners. So like that. But now it's much more open market. You don't have to have the invitations, generally speaking. Initially, invitation was required because they didn't want, particularly UAE didn't want that you run any course there without really having the base. And therefore, they said, if you run that course in India, in your principal organization or institute, the same thing can be done in UAE if we invite you. Something like that was the model which was there. But now it's probably much more open. You can always check with the policy making of respective countries if you want to take forays into that. I know that some of them have gone to Uzbekistan, and maybe some Ukrainian partners must also be there. And people are partnering now in Malaysia and Indonesia and various other countries which are there. So let it be. Indians have the power, Indians have the knowledge, Indians have the desire to do, so we should do it. Of course, when it comes to the specializations which can pay for it in internationalization, generally it was engineering and medical. And you know the medical is making hue and cry. Engineering is well known for IIT students going in large number to further their higher education in the engineering domain. And now it's open to management and various other domains also. But then I would say that the management, commerce, law, languages are at the medium level. They are not necessarily very sought after, but they are not bad either, is what I would say. But our performance when it comes to delivering those science and humanities courses, in my opinion, are low. Science is particularly low because they have not excelled much in that. Humanities, probably some other experts can tell you a little bit more detail that how well we are doing, except that languages where a lot of finally come and join Indian campuses and do something, but our science is not necessarily so progressive. So countries of India's interest, I have already listed and already talked about that. Now IIT Delhi, I'm told from news media, is opening 2-3 campuses. But you probably remember, because some of you are closer to Delhi, you know that 10 years back or maybe 8 years back, the IIT director was into some trouble because he had initiated such internationalization in Maldives, and that was not defendable, and there are lots of questions, right? And that is happening to the best institution in the country, best of the leaders in the country, some 8-10 years back, and certainly things have changed now. And obviously, I must credit Amity, that US, UK, and many other advanced countries where a presence is there. You are making the Indian flag fly high, so I appreciate that. And then, of course, I already talked about the Nepal model, which is now online partnerships and online offers are available. Distance, online, virtual, everything is getting merged. You'll probably see that internationalization will cross the boundaries much more easily, and cross-cutting issues, cost-cutting issues, and local regulations right now do not favor us. But once again, under the new NEP and once again under the new leadership of UGC, you will probably see involvement of tech companies, making the class sizes bigger, making the GER higher, hiring the faculty from industry. I think all those things possibly will make sure that these things are removed and Indian campuses abroad will possibly do very well. That's what I think. Now, if I say foreign campuses in India, I think it will be hardly very countable on fingers. And in fact, there are no campuses. Maybe there are some programs in some joint form or whatever. But they are welcome on record. It is being said that they can come. Just now there was a statement that top 100 in the world or top 200 in the world can come, raise the bar by setting new standards, investing money, improving certain things. But they have lots of difficulties. And some of the major issues which are there is regulatory framework itself is not known. It's going to be 1.25 to 2 years since NEP was announced in July. And you find that even now HESI is not there. And we don't know which leg of the HESI is going to control internationalization. And how would, let us say, a medical or the legal councils which are there, Bar Council and all, will play with the legalities of the internationalization if it happens in their domain also. So there are still gray areas which are there. But then they also are taking their time to understand NEP. Time and again, I get call from some of the people who are known, or maybe sometimes the consultants. So someone talks to you about NEP, what are the repercussions, what are the potentials, what are the challenges and all that. Can we do this and that? So those are still not so well known because NEP is a telegraphic document, 30-page document. If you really start implementing things, you'll probably see that it will require 3,000 pages to explain all the policies very, very nicely and implement in form of rules and regulations are there. Biggest bottleneck or roadblock happens to be not for profit. Why would one invest their precious money in a country where they don't have much control, and especially when they are not making money out of money? Why would they park it there? They will better park it in their own country where it's put to better use, even if it is charity or whatever it is. And therefore, there is a conflict of models that education in India is not for profit, though companies be for profit. It's a different thing. So you can go through a tech route, and there are agencies like Upgrade and whatever such agencies are there now, Simply Learn and all, which are operating in international domains. They do profit, and the government cannot stop that. So if you're not allowed to do that, our survival, the tech companies will take over. I'm not worried about that, but there should be an openness that we can compete, they can compete, we can do well, or they can do well, whatever it may be. Obviously, right now, if one international campus has to come to in India, it is virtually that they have to partner with some existing partner, operating partner. Otherwise, if they start from ground zero, the chances are for next 3 to 4, 5 years, they will not come into existence in a systematic way. I just give an example. For example, in Gujarat, most of the admissions in Gujarat state institutions, if they are framed under Gujarat state laws, then they will have to be, admissions are controlled by them. The fee is regulated by them. And in that case, the foreign partners or foreign institutions cannot operate very, very easily. Physical norms are very stringent. All those minimum norms, which we say, qualification norms for approvals are very stringent, which are not necessarily quality-based, but they are quantity-based. They are not necessarily delivery-based, but they are on count-based, and so on and so forth. Another thing is, if an international body has to start operations, they'll like to bring a lot of good quality faculty and deliver good quality education, which they claim good quality. And obviously their cost mismatch, salary mismatch will be high. If I was working in US and they depute me to India, they'll obviously give me much higher salary because it has to be in relation to my principal salary there. And therefore the cost becomes very high, affordability becomes an issue. Another issue in Indian conditions is the living environment, that the living environments are not good in India typically, and societal acceptance for foreign students particularly sometimes is very, very difficult. I'll not quote the examples here because they're bad things to talk about, but I've seen this happening. We become very abusive and we envy them, we curse them, we don't possibly like them. I think those things are not good. On top of that, their requirements in terms of their food and other things are probably another set of barriers. So overall, the living environment and social fabric can be a challenge when it comes to internationalization. So now I come to what are the international support models which are currently available in the country through which you can do internationalization. Number one, Indian government, particularly DST or MOE also now, have more than 100 bilateral MOUs through which large number of programs are publicized, research scholarships, exchanges, faculty visits, FTP, network programs, everything is being done. It may be bilateral, trilateral. Erasmus Mundus probably will be having 5 players. Some other possibility will have another set of people like that. They do under Fulbright, something else, various things are there. So those are under kind of some sort of an MOUs which Government of India and their respective government does that. And we used to support them under AIU when I was a president, and otherwise also these programs were supported by us in terms of whatever it is required. Similarly, collaboration for research, I already said for COVID and all those things we have said. The Erasmus Mundus model I have talked about, the UKRI model exists, which is there. The DART model from Germany is there. The Fulbright is from USIEF. AIT Bangkok had a very separate model, which is in the form of what we call faculty secondment. Taiwan has many cooperation models because they have started with the Look India, East India policy kind of a thing. They have started, and Taiwan is collaborating very heavily with India, and large number of Indian students are going there. And then, of course, British Council for UK and all that is very well known, Association of Commonwealth Universities. I'm an executive council member there, and I know lots of programs and activities through which we support them. Commonwealth Scholarship Commission or Colombo Plan Scholarship. This is the most sought after scholarship program of the country, right from the inception, I would say maybe 50, 60 years. A couple of prime ministers and presidents of India have undergone this kind of a scholarship support system, which are there. Then some support model for something for internationalization is London School of Economics, London Business School. I know a little bit about them because I've lived there. That they take large number of students for admissions and decide country quotas. Why they decide country quotas? Because they want diversity. Why they want diversity is because there is a great deal of learning and application of that particular learning in different places and different situations. So for example, if you're doing an MBA in, let's say, London Business School, and you have 400 students, and finally they make group activities of 4 students each. They have a clear-cut demarcation that each student in a group of 4 students will be from different country. They will not be repeated that they are a British citizen or they are Indian citizen or Americans or whatever. All 4 of them will be from different nationalities if they have to do some study or some group study, whatever it is. And that is how they promote internationalization. So they have quota system that they make sure that we are not looking at an absolute flat quality like JEE, which says this is my cutoff. No, they do many other discretions in their own way to promote internationalization. And then, of course, bilateral MOUs are anyway order of the day. I'm sure Amity must be leading university of the country in terms of doing many such things which are happening. And so we are a young university. So we have done around 40. Until the time I was in SRM last year, we had probably 150 more or whatever. And I'm saying generally we kept them active. We made sure that there'll be a champion for every MOU from our side and from their side. And recently we have started that proper reporting of what has happened under a given MOU should also happen. And then only you can push for internationalization. Another thing which you possibly may require is that you allocate funds for internationalization. Unless you do that, I don't find it in most of the budgets that they do it. If you see their audited statements or whatever, it's not appearing there. If you do that, that would be a nice thing. And then when the money is earmarked for a certain activity, internationalization will go in a very nice way. Now, what are the Indian efforts for special initiatives? I think some of those are known to you. And the very first one which I'm listing here is the DASA. I was the chairman for that for 3.5 years. It is basically admissions to engineering and MCA programs, in certain cases MBA programs in India, in government institutions, typically, and through a quality assessment model, which was based on the SAT or something like that for undergraduate program. It was direct admission of students from abroad. Currently, it is being championed by the NIT system, and around 70, 80 institutions of the country follow that particular model. The fees are reasonable, around 7,000 to 8,000 pounds, which are the dollars, which are there. And it is a good support to Indian institutions because, for example, when I was director of Suratkal or Trichy, I was getting around 400 admissions under this category, mainly for NRIs, I will say, but they were able to pay and we were able to generate a lot of internal revenue or resource. So DASA was a very, very good scheme and it still continues. ICCR follows a similar method, but they fix the fee at a lower end and they give you lots of admission in social sciences, humanities, and whatnot, such things which are there. The recent initiative of government for non-engineering is, or engineering also put together, is Study in India initiative. I'm sure many of you are aware of that. It has happened mainly in last 3-4 years. And now Government of India is very aggressively targeting some 30 odd countries from where the students' admission should happen in India, because it's important for our survival, for our public policy and advocacy in the world, or for the support. Many of them can become leaders. You'll be surprised to know Poland is helping Indian students in a very big way. The reason for that is somewhere during the World War II, 500 Polish students, school students, were supported by in India when they were not finding any place for survival. That was in a place called Jamnagar. And finally, one amongst those 500 students also happened to become the president of Poland later, who studied in India for 4 or 5 years in that Jamnagar school. So please understand, the same things possibly happened in Afghanistan or maybe Nepal or maybe somewhere else also, and can happen in some other neighboring countries. So it's very important for our positioning in the globe that what we can do, and that's what it is being done. So SII is very important, and there are many unique models and publicity and branding they are creating. Those who have not joined should try to join and take advantage of that. And we at Marwadi are doing very well in the SII model. Similarly, MEA, Ministry of External Affairs, is creating own model other than the Ministry of Education. MEA is trying to prop up Africa because Africa needs a lot of support. So they have created, I don't know the exact number, pardon me if I'm wrong, it may be 1,000 or 10,000 kind of scholarships they are doing for online education for the African nations, nationalities, which is a very, very big opportunity. What are the courses? You dig out and find, because we are not following that model, so I don't have the full information. So please do that. And government is paying for that because it wants to, like British Council pays all the scholars from India, takes care of all the expenditure, make them educated. And I was benefited by that. Same thing happens in US Fulbright or DART or whatever. Same way India is also doing to the other nations where it can contribute. Similarly, we can say there are agencies, National Project Implementation Unit, NPIU, which at one point of time was implementing the World Bank project called TechCube and all that, also promote internationalization. Association of Indian Universities, which is Delhi-based, and I was its president, also actively promotes internationalization, and not only promotes, it does all the equivalences, which are very, very essential sometimes. Students are confused whether my degree is a graduate, postgraduate, diploma, or this year, how many years, can the subject be related to something else, and so on and so forth. So all the matching, mapping, and labeling of these courses is being done by AIU. Of course, now very liberally and in a very systematic, transparent IT-based system. Earlier, it was a human-based or expert-based system. Now it is completely electronically driven system. Then we have bodies like Electronic Education Promotion Society of India, EPSI, or the commercial or industrial bodies like FICCI, CII, SOCHM. They are also promoting the internationalization in a very big way. They also take delegations, particularly FICCI this time, and I'm its active member for the National Council, was promoting the Dubai International Fest, and all the educational related activities were in collaboration with the FICCI and various other things which were there. Then, of course, agencies like Manipal International University started offline or online operations, for MBA kind of a programs in Singapore, and networked with some other neighboring countries and experts and other like-minded people. So these kind of models were also created. Non-physical, non-brick and mortar models were there. Then certain universities operate NRI or OCI or foreign nationals quota, which is fine. NRI quota is very famous or infamous also, I would say, in certain contexts, but it exists. So you can give admissions to truly foreign nationals or people of Indian origin certain times and all that which are there. A lot of them have created international advisory boards. For example, SRM was very aggressive in internationalization, and it had created international advisory boards. So that's another way to promote your branding and promote collaboration and activities and get international funding. And I must say that SRM had 10% of, in Taiwan, 10% of Indian students studying in Taiwan at some point of time were from SRM alone. And probably if you take the Tamil Nadu as a whole, probably 25% students from Tamil Nadu alone. That's a focus approach they followed, and the result was that they were doing very, very well with that. Obviously, what we really need now is top government institutions to actively embrace the internationalization. That is not happening. The IITs are not easily giving admission to international students. It's something like that. You are my guest. And when you come to my house, I don't make you sit in my drawing room or my best facility. Don't offer you the best things to eat. I just take you to somewhere else. You'll probably not like my hospitality. Same is the case that when students from abroad are coming to India, it may be competition based. If you're not offering your best to them, they think that you do not want them. And that is a message, which is a wrong message. India is giving that, sorry, we don't want to offer your best institutions and programs to you. I think that should change. We should also promote our Indian MOOCs wherever we can. And right now they're confined to India. Of course, people from outside take it, but we should also very actively push for that. And that is what will make, like we know edX and Coursera and Udacity and all that becoming very popular. Way back in 2004-05, I started learning from MIT OpenCourseWare, where the foundation of this MOOCs was possibly laid. And it was all for free. And I followed internationalization to learn some new and advanced subjects. But are we able to do it to other countries? I think we should find a good model to do that. And lastly, the recent announcement by our Prime Minister in the recent budget and the provision and expectation, digital university concept, whether you call it online university or call it virtual university or the name digital university, doesn't matter for me. I think that should be a very, very important concept. And once the digital thing is there, the boundaries will be easily be broken. And we don't want any boundaries if you want to do good in education. I think that is the message I wanted to give to you, that internationalization is something going to be very, very important for all of us. You may claim that India is 28 states and so many UTs, and we already have the enough diversity, and we are bigger than the size of Europe, and so on and so forth. That's fine. But still, each country has certain value, and we should try to bring the best. And that is the meaning of internationalization. And that is how we should proceed. So with that, thank you everyone for patience and listening to me, and also inviting me in this opportunity. I hope I consumed my time given to me, 15 minutes. I'm now open to questions, which I'll try to answer if I have the answer. Otherwise, I'll learn the answers from you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. In fact, you know, a lot of
thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. So
Thank you,
I could attend most part of your session, and I believe each word of yours is $1 million advice for the Indian education system. I was very fortunate, I must share here with the participants, that I got this opportunity to lead the international collaborations for Manipal as Director International under leadership of Dr. Sancheti. And together in a span of around 2 years itself, we could take the international collaborations from 20 to 55. So that was all his guidance and his visionary approach. And very pertinent points mentioned by sir, that there has to be a structural change. There has to be a policy framework that need to come in order to facilitate internationalization. Because I know, having done that myself, I know what were the bottlenecks, what were the constraints, and why we were not able to increase a great number in terms of, both sides, attracting the students as well as in terms of sending students also, because the frameworks were not developed. Then with his guidance, we worked on creating the credit transfer frameworks. We don't have like a European credit system where the credit is well defined, the percentage and the marks are well defined. In fact, we used to have problem in terms of transferring the credits and the grade sheets and all that. So those are practical difficulties that we have faced. And as Professor Sancheti rightly said, we are fortunate to some extent being part of Amity. So one of the largest international group, I'll say. So sir, now we have 17 overseas campuses. And some of the campuses are doing really well. So that's one part. And similarly, close to 200 partnerships as a group. And at Amity University, Rajasthan, now we are touching close to 50 in terms of partnerships. And last year, we also launched our global study program, where we have started with these articulation agreements of 1+2 and 1+3 and those kind of models, where students in fact can get degree from these foreign partner institutions. They are simply accepting our credits, and they have agreed to award their own degrees with a shorter duration also. So those are some of the initiatives. 3-continent program is also that we are doing. But now really we need to work as a team towards attracting foreign students and make India as an educational hub or a destination of choice. And we can very easily do that for at least 60, 70 countries of the world, if not the entire world. Because the systems, you are very right. I got the opportunity to travel and visit a lot of foreign universities being in that position. And you're very right that we are not less, we are less than none. I mean, we are equally good. So thank you so much, sir, for very insightful address. And thank you so much for all your guidance.
Thank you, Professor Jain, for your kind words. You were a very able team member. We all worked together, enjoyed it also. And I'm very happy that you are doing well, and Amity under your leadership has done extremely well. And we all learn when we join hands and share good this thing. One thing for sure is that while we compete, the competition should remain healthy, but we should know, like Quota model, everywhere I became an expert in coaching, and Quota became a supreme thing when it comes to coaching, though they were competing with each other. I think when we collaborate internationally or nationally, we can create a ground where good things can happen. And that is what internationalization can bring. That's what our association can bring. And you very rightly said that we should move in that direction. So my congratulations that you are in 17 countries, which is a knowledge to me. I think you should showcase some case studies of your success. You are from management side. You are very akin to writing case studies, and you should showcase to the world that how you have become successful, how you have done those. because once we are with you in US and UK, possibly we'll very easily collaborate, because that's where Indians or Indian origin possibly will have a much more affinity rather than being in Jaipur or anywhere else. And therefore, there is going to be a very positive collaboration for us. So thank you. I appreciate that you were here for most of the time and you could also listen to everything. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Jain.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Over to Deepa ma'am wanted to say something. We don't have any questions, ma'am. So the session was excellent. It was very enlightening.
It was excellent. And in fact, what we had from sir, we have to really think on those points and slowly, implement them. Maybe with Professor Jain is with us, and he's actually managing the internationalization, frankly speaking. Great. So a lot of things we heard, and now we need to sit and see how this can be implemented. So if there are questions from faculty colleagues, we can take them.
We don't have any questions.
A lot of appreciation is coming because these are things that they haven't heard before. Like me also,
Very clear.
Part of it is not known
I
to
must
us.
admit my failure that I could not incite them enough to
no, it was quite clear,
or,
sir, actually.
or them to probe me. But anyway,
maybe the presentation was so comprehensive, sir. You have touched on every aspect, from the academic bank of credit to each and every scheme that is possible. In fact, this Pan-Africa network also, sir, we have done a lot of work as Amity of that project. So, but there are so many other things yet to be done, and it was really insightful. Thank you.
Really insightful. Yeah. And with our Pro-Vice Chancellor, sir, joining in, it added a dimension to it, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Sandeep Sancheti.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very
We're
nice.
Really honored with your, you have graced this session. Thank you, sir.
So much.
Thank you so much.
Catch up again sometime soon. Thank you, Madam Parul, for constantly making sure that I don't lose the track and time and connectivity. And so I've lived my promise. That's all I'll say. I made sure that whatever I'm doing right now in Goa does not collude with this commitment. So very happy to be with you. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Amit sir.
Professor Jain. Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Deepa ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all the panelists. Professor Nalini Thampi is here. Thank you so much, sir. So, bye, sir.